Hi there, how you doing? I want to take an opportunity now to introduce you to a framework I've been building for quite some time now. It's very comprehensive, it's very in detail, but essentially what it is, it maps out every piece of content that a luxury property could possibly ever shoot. And I call it the three pillar luxury framework. It's designed to unlock the revenue that's hidden inside the experience of your guests. So assets that you're already sitting on, that you already have put money into, that you've already built, there's revenue sitting there that's just getting missed essentially. And what this is going to do is going to be able to show you where you're invisible, where those assets aren't being seen, and then hopefully we can create some content to be able to capitalize on it. So essentially, most hotels don't have a content problem, they just have a visibility problem. So what that means is if the guests don't see the value, it simply doesn't exist to them. They could have 10, 20 tabs open, looking for that place with a nice, beautiful pool and a artesian hot spa that you've got out the back. But because you haven't shown that content, they're just going to basically book somewhere that's a bit cheaper, where they would have booked with you if you had have been able to show that asset off properly. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to break down the four areas that you're losing when it comes to not having a structured content system, and that's risk, time, money, and status. Now, with risk, by not having that structured content system, guests are just going to default to someone that does have clearer positioning, and you end up competing on price instead of identity. All right, next is time. It's the time that you're losing by not showing off your assets, essentially. So you're going to have people calling all the time and your staff repeating on the phone. And then it's just going to be like a broken record and they're going to end up poorly explaining those beautiful assets that you got after enough time. And with one piece of content, one video showing it, you're really going to cut out all that operational drain from those phone calls. And it's going to speed up the decision making process when people are booking. So that means, yeah, they're not going to have too many questions for you. By the time they get on the call, they're already going to be pre warmed to be able to book with you. All right, so status. I mean, this is a big one in luxury. That's the difference between premium and luxury is status. With proper depth, it's going to signal credibility. If you have depth in all these different things that you're showing and into the rooms and your culinary experiences and stuff like that, it's going to make people think that you're credible, which is what we want. All right, next up we have money. This is where the real loss happens, and this is the driving factor but behind basically most decisions, if not all of them that we make, is how much money we're going to make. So what we're going to try and do here is increase your ADR and then basically bring more revenue into the venue off the back of assets that you already have there. So without having to go out and build anything extra you've already got, we just show it correctly and then we're able to bring in more money out of it. Without showing a structured content system, you're going to miss those high value guests that want to know all of those things that you have available before you get there. And without that, they're just going to get booked with someone else. I've got 12 areas of action which cover every single piece of content that a luxury property could possibly ever shoot all around the world. And to be able to kind of give that a little bit of structure, I've broken that down into three pillars. Now, not every hotel will have every 12 areas of action, but your hotel will not have any piece of content that doesn't fall into those areas of action. So what we'll do is we'll find out what your property has to offer in the way of the areas of action and then structure that content system around your specific property. And here we are. Pillar one is core, which is proof of quality and it's mandatory. I make this mandatory. This is my MVP. With three areas of action. We've got room offerings, in-house amenities, and culinary experiences. Now, the reason that is mandatory is because those three areas of action apply to every single one of you. There's no hotel out there, luxury property that doesn't have these three areas of action. So pillar one is locked in. And then with pillar two and pillar three, experience and signature, we're able then to see what is relevant to your property and then be able to build that system on top. So with our packages, you pick your pillar one and then you will pick and choose the other areas of action that are relevant to you. All right. Pillar one is the baseline to all luxury. Guests won't even look at you twice unless you've got these three things mapped out for them. You have that beautiful king bed overlooking that ocean. And if you don't show that off properly, if guests can't feel that they're there, they're just going to go for someone that can actually show that. So the first area of action is our room offerings, which is your controlled solitude. Uh, these are the costs right here: risk, time, status, and money, and the cost to you if you're not showing off your room offerings correctly. Next up, money. So again, this is the cost of you not having a system that's coming out of your pocket. So it's easier to upsell a room if guests can actually feel themselves in it. If you've got a suite that's an extra $1,000 a night compared to what they'd already booked, it's very easy to upsell it if you can show them a piece of content where they can actually feel like they're in there. The emotion that they're going to get from upgrading that room rather than just looking at some photos or some bullet points. All right. And then we're going to break it down a bit further and show 4 areas we can actually capture. So you're going to be able to see the content and really have a look at this and see what your rooms have and know what we're actually going to capture. Your stay options, and then under that, we've got all those things that you can shoot, like your monitor setup, your desk or workstation. Maybe you've got sleep optimized suites, your signature rooms and villas, the views, the outlook, the privacy, that type of stuff. Next up, we have our pillar 2, which is experience, which is your proof of depth. Now, this whole pillar, we've got 5 areas of action there. That's everything that the guest could possibly experience. You know, you've got stuff that's happening everywhere, internal and external. You've got activities, you've got things going on. All the stuff the guest can do and all the stuff the guest is able to experience is covered here in pillar 2. First up, we have activities and experiences. It's what keeps the guests in house. And the risk that you're taking by not having content here and not having this area of action covered in what you're showing, you're going to, like I mentioned, you're going to have those guests booking external activity providers then rather than booking with you. Maybe that they'll book at the exact same external provider that you work with, but you're not going to get a piece of that pie because they've booked ahead of time. But if you show that you have access to all these things on, then they'll book with you and you'll get a little piece of that pie and increase that ADR. The time that you're going to save, again, saving time staff explaining in the lobby. The guests come down in the morning and they start asking, what can we do? What's going on? Those staff, instead of spending time on things that are a little bit more important, they're going to be standing there having that conversation when it could already be answered for them. Okay, now breaking this down into four areas where we can capture some content. Again, kids, I've got relaxation, so you've got beach lounging, passive leisure, books, blankets, comfort, amenities, stuff like that. Maybe you've got a cinema room or you have some movie nights outside under the stars, that type of stuff with some big bean bags. Show that off. It's a beautiful thing that you're doing. You really have to show that off. Next up, nature and culture. So maybe there's some coastal exploration that's got going on. Maybe you've got guides and tours and stuff that go down there to show the local flora and fauna. Maybe you've got ATVs or you've got some skydiving or jet skis or motorboats or anything like that. Make sure you show that content off as well and get those guests to spend that money with you. And experience captures revenue. A lot of money that people spend, they spend on experiences. They'll have their accommodation booked ahead of time, and they'll usually then come with a whole heap of money in their pocket they intend to just throw away on memories. So make sure that they're throwing that money in your direction instead. All right. Design, architecture, and sense of place. So luxury travelers really come for the beauty. They want to go somewhere that looks really nice, that's got some beautiful feature walls with local artwork hanging up that really blends into the environment. Somewhere they can walk through the lobbies with a cocktail in hand and really soak in what your property has to offer. I know there's a place in Bali, Potato Head, and you go down the entrance into that place for anyone who's ever been there before is so spectacular and unique. And I remember that place so vividly amongst everywhere else that I went. And that is all the architecture and sense of place. So if you've got some really beautiful stuff, you need to show that off as well. And money. So what this is going to do, this is going to drive influencer and media exposure. These influencers want to go out and show off, the beauty in the places that they're staying. And you're going to get that organic traffic and stretch out your media presence for free, essentially. All right, and here we have 6 areas that we can capture, which is pretty wild. We've got arrival and first impressions, architectural identity, your social and public environments, your sense of place, your interior design and atmosphere, and your public and private spaces. We're really going to capture feeling and emotion of being in the place with this area of action. And we can do that across all those 6 areas, and everything from your bars, your lounges, your pools, how it feels to walk through the corridors or the gardens at night with the lighting. If there's a moon out and it's setting over the ocean, and you can sit on a rock out there and just listen to the waves crash, and then wander back through your hotel, and you've got that smell of incense just coming through the lobby. All those things that you really need to capture, and you're going to position yourself as a luxury property instead of just premium. All right, next up we have pillar 3, signature, which is your proof of dominance. This is the cherry on top of the cake. That's the defining elements competitors can't replicate. The real special stuff that you do that you can show off to the world. When it's executed well, it justifies that premium pricing and attracts those guests that are going to pay it. You're talking about the high flyers, the big spenders, the one with real money that really want to spend it. You can capture that in a video, something they're going to watch one video and go, yes, that's where I'm going to spend my, summer vacation right there. This is the big one. So the guest experience architecture, which is rituals, privacy, and personalization. So here we're going to avoid being perceived as just premium rather than luxury. Like I said, this is the thing that's really going to separate you from premium. And so people know you as luxury. You're going to ensure that guests know the depth of your service before booking. So that's your procedures that you have at check in. Is it seamless? Are you going to have a lot of people running around? Is it quiet? Is it secure? There's some people out there that want privacy, some people that are really well known that want to get in and get out without too much fuss. They want to know and make sure that you do all those things correctly. And the big one, money. We're going to be able to increase repeat bookings through emotional memory and recognition of these guests that booked for those things, and they knew exactly what they were after and what they were going to get, and they got it. Those guests are going to keep coming back. All right, we've got 6 categories here we can capture. We've got pre-arrival and anticipation, which is your personal concierge introductions, tailored itinerary preparation, stuff like that. Then your arrival and departure logistics, what I mentioned before about all those things getting done quietly and efficiently when they check in and check out, which makes their experience a lot more seamless for those luxury guests. Privacy and discretion design, your personalization systems, which is your pillow scent, lighting menus, you've got the turn down service, you've got that smooth lighting, all those type of things you can make sure you capture here, and your signature emotional moments. What you want to do is you want to design their experience, as experience builds loyalty. Those people are going to keep coming back time and time again. So now we've gone through the framework. I've come up with 10 examples of specific guests with specific problems and specific solutions to those problems to be able to give you an idea how all this content is going to work together to be able to pull those guests. Most of them I have left blank, and they're detailed with the full framework as my areas of actions were blurred out. But there's a few examples here we're going to be able to work through to give you an idea, an example of how they all work. So scenario 2 is those affluent family escapes. Now, these are the escapes of those really well-off families that want to come out. You're going to be able to pull them because they need variety, ease, and all-in-one experiences. So the solution is your amenities area of action, your activities, and your culinary experiences areas of action. All those 3 videos combined will give them exactly what they need, and they'll book straight away with you. Scenario 4 is the romantic escapes. So they want intimacy, atmosphere, and memorable moments. They're going to be able to look at the rooms, culinary experiences, and the guest experience architecture, and that's going to be them ticked off as well. The last scenario I've left here is the design and the aesthetic traveler. Now, they choose based on visual identity and atmosphere. That's basically why they come. And so you're going to show them the design, the rooms, and your amenities. And that's going to lock them in for their experience as well. There's plenty more here, from honeymoon celebration to the adventure exploration traveler. Feel free to pause and have a look. And again, if you want to chat more about these, I'm happy to have a call and we can discuss what areas of action are going to fit with them. All right, next up, we have our execution system. So, this is where we take all the information that we've just gone through and we structure it into a working system for you in order to build proper content that drives bookings. First up, we have our pre production, which is our strategy and system design. This is where we're really going to define your value and identify your strongest AOAs that you've got on the property and expose gaps where revenue is being missed. So I'm sure that there's probably a lot of things that you're not showing, those gaps that are there. We're going to expose them and be able to build that content system out and capture every piece of asset that you're able to show off to the world. And then we're going to define who you need to attract and why they book, and then build a structured system around that. And this is also where we have our pre-production meeting where we confirm scope, priorities, logistics, all that type of stuff. So once we hit the ground over there, everything's all sorted and we can just get straight into it. Next up, we have system capture, which is our production. That's where we'll arrive on the property and then we'll walk through, make sure that everything's aligned logistically and we can gather everything we need and figure out when the guests are going to be in the spots where we don't want guests and work around that or vice versa, and then actually capture the content. And last, we have our post production, which is our system build. So, this is where we're going to turn content into working assets. We're going to make sure that we don't have any assets floating around that don't have a purpose. Everything is created with an intent in mind to be able to make sure it's not just floating around doing nothing. And we're going to have our post production meeting here, which just review and alignment and make sure that you're happy with everything that we've accomplished as well. All right. So if you decide to go with our content system retainer, this is what we're going to be able to do there, which is our distribution and activation, where we're going to map every asset to where it drives bookings. You'll be able to choose the frequency that you wish to post per week and the time period that you wish to engage for. And we're able to then create that content, hand it over to your marketing team so they're able to deploy that at the intervals that you're after. And this is where demand is captured through seasonality and geography. All right. And number five, if you're with our social content retainer, we will then engage performance and expansion. So this is where we're going to be able to have a look at what's working, the content that's actually driving more bookings, and we can expand upon that. And then identify gaps across your AOAs and segments, stuff that you didn't capture before. Or maybe you've built something up over the time, or maybe you want to go back and then capture a certain part of a new AOA or one that you've already done. And then we're able then to build that into the content system as well. And what this is going to do is you're going to improve your reach and results over time and refine underperforming content that's not doing as well as we thought it was going to do. All right, now we're down to the juicy part, which is the value and investment. So essentially, what I've got here is we have three packages. We have our presence, positioning, and dominance. So presence is designed to establish a clear bookable presence. What's included in that is the core pillar, one hero brand film, 30 to 50 stills. So get you started amongst your competitors to be able to stand out to the venue that you know you are. Positioning is where you're going to be able to compete at a higher level. Now, this is where it gets a little bit interesting because you get core plus 5 AOAs of your choosing. So maybe you've got 3 in experiences and you want to get 2 from the signature pillar, you're able to do that. Whichever extra 5 you like, you're able to add those on. Again, one hero brand film in there and 60 to 100 stills. So more images there as well. This is going to give you strong market positioning and a competitive advantage over similar properties, which is what you want. All right. Next up, we have dominance. This is all 12 areas of action covered. You get 1 or 2 brand films, you get 150 to 200 or more stills, everything included. Now, not all properties are going to be able to sign up to the dominance because not all properties have all 12 areas of action. So the ones that do are pretty lucky, I guess, that they have all these assets that are able to show off. It's going to make you a market leader, this extra package, because it's got everything covered. And what it's going to do is it's going to create maximum booking confidence. So guests are going to know all about you, everything you offer before they even get on the phone or they book that through the website, and they're going to know exactly what they're in for when they arrive. Now, there are options for expansion and delivery. So you can scale your content with precision this way. Lastly, we have felt that feature. So it's a spotlight campaign level storytelling for a single AOA. So maybe you've got a really special area of action something that, can't be covered in a standard AOA film. Maybe you have a luau where you have the pig on the spit. You have 150, 200 people, and you have the dancers and the fire twirls, and it's on the beach, and it's really beautiful. And you don't think that it's really going to be captured well enough in a single AOA. We can create a feature film, which is a lot more time, a lot more production, a lot more post production, something that's beautiful and stands alone as its own film. We're able to do that as well. And here, just a little bit about our content system retainer, which we have two options. So we have a system extension, which is an add on. So if you've already completed one of our packages and you just want to create some more content and we can use some footage and stills and stuff that we've got already, we're able to do that. Then we can come up with a system. So we don't need to come out and shoot anything else. We can just use what we've already got to be able to come up with more content for you. And next up, we have our capture and extension. So this is for active properties that are either just engaged or currently going through. We're able to, at the same time, book in this content retainer system, which includes monthly, quarterly shoot days and expands your AOA coverage over time and supports campaigns and seasonal content as well. Like I said, their length is 1, 3, or 6 months, and frequency is 3, 5, or 7 times a week. And we have an option for still assets. So if you just want to get some photos taken, we have separated pricing with an engagement or standalone. So if you aren't engaged with us for video content at all, there is options just to do photo. And also, it works out a bit cheaper if you do have video content with us. We're able to get some photos at the same time, so we don't have to send anyone out just for that. It does work out cheaper for you as well. All right. There we are. The three pillar luxury framework. Like I said, it's very detailed. There's a lot of content there. So if I've missed anything or you got any questions or you'd like to know what those other areas of action that I left blurred are, and you want to have a look at the full framework, feel free to reach out, jump on a call, send an email, and we can see where exactly your property is invisible. And that's it. Have a great day.